How's it going, everyone, and welcome back. Today is part 2 of me just talking about a few of the games that really stood out to me at E3 and the showcases. So today I'm going to be talking about Ubisoft, the PC, Square Enix, and the Nintendo showcases. So let's jump right in. So Ubisoft showed off a fair few games. They showed off things like more Rainbow Six Siege, the Division 2, more Ghost Recon, quite a few games like that. They also showed off a TV show by Rob McElhenney, who did It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So they've shown quite a few, but actually most of it didn't interest me, I won't lie to you. There was only one game that actually piqued my interest, and that was actually Watch Dogs Legion, the third in the Watch Dogs series, which is really interesting, I find, because actually I have not played either of the other two Watch Dogs games. Would you believe? I haven't bothered. They just didn't interest me enough, and yet this one actually looked pretty awesome. So, as normal with Watch Dogs games, it's all about hacking and stuff, but this is actually set in London in the not too distant future from the looks of things, and basically everything's gone to shit. So basically it looks like you're part of this resistance group and you're trying to build a resistance, and there's a lot to it, and the whole sort of thing of this game is that actually you can play as anybody in the world. You can control anyone, and you recruit these people, all of which have their own individual backstories and personal skills, and you can literally control anyone, just from simple sportsmen to people who are good at hacking, all the way to little old ladies who are awesome assassins, which was absolutely brilliant when they showed that in the alpha footage. But yeah, that was the only one that really stood out to me in Ubisoft's presentation, which I was quite surprised by, because usually there's a few that Ubisoft do that I really enjoy the look of. But Watch Dogs Legion is being released in March 2020. So with the PC games conference, there was quite a lot. They showed a lot of games, and there were a lot of games that I'm not going to talk about, even though they did pique my interest, mainly because I think sort of everyone kind of knows about them. One of them is Borderlands 3. Now, I love Borderlands, and you know, it's a looter shooter, it's cel shaded, it's amazing, but I'm not going to jump into that because I will be here for absolutely hours. Another one that I'm quite looking forward to is Baldur's Gate 3. I remember playing Baldur's Gate when I was young, the original one, and it was great fun, so I'm quite looking forward to that. But the ones I wanted to talk about, there were 3 specific ones I really wanted to sort of point out. The first one, to anyone who sort of keeps up with my videos, will actually be quite surprising. But the first one that stood out to me was Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. Now, this looks half decent. And as I said, anyone who sort of kept up with me knows that the first one I played very recently, and I hated it with a passion. It was such a disappointment, and I really thought it was bad. But from what I can see, the new one that they're doing actually looks like it could be pretty decent, and I will definitely be giving it a go. It looks very dark, you know, very gothic vibe to it. Looks like it's going to have some nice dark humor in it, sort of going around the whole vampire thing, which I think will be really good. Looks like there's going to be quite a lot to it, so you have to adjust to the environment, becoming a new vampire, things like that. So I'm actually quite looking forward to seeing what they are going to do with this, and hope that actually they can make a decent game this time, because the first one was so bad that this one has got a lot to sort of that it needs to do to really make up for it, in my personal opinion. This is going to be released in Q1 of 2020. The next one I want to talk about was Remnant. Now, this looked awesome. This is a co-op action shooter, and it's set in like a apocalyptic world. It's set on Earth initially, but then you actually go to other worlds, and it's basically you and some friends, and you've got to destroy evil. It's kind of one of those awesome looking quests where you just have to go through. You've got guns, you pick up loot as you go through, different armors, weapons, all that kind of thing, destroying monstrous, evil, demonic looking bosses, and it just looks like a really good time, you know. It looks pretty damn cool, and I definitely think I'm going to pick this one up. This is released on August 20th of this year. And the final one that really caught my eye was, I want to say, Chris Tales. I might be pronounced Christ Tales, I'm not really sure. But it didn't show huge amounts. But the first thing that really caught my eye was the art style. It's done in a 2D art style, and it looks gorgeous. It's a really awesome art style, which I think really makes it stand out quite a lot. It's meant to be a love letter to JRPG, so you got your turn-based combat and things, which I personally love. And one of the things it boasted was that you experience the past, the present, and the future all simultaneously. So that'll be interesting to see, and I'll be really interested to see how that plays out and actually how that works. So there's obviously going to be quite a big thing about sort of time and possibly time travel, but not necessarily sort of as we perceive it. So I'm really looking forward to seeing more about that game. But yeah, so those were the three main ones from the PC conference. And finally today, I'm going to talk about the Square Enix showcase. Now, there was a lot here, and a lot of it looked really good. But some of it I've actually spoken about before, because they showed bits of it last year, and some of it is just stuff that, although I think looks great, I'm never going to play, e.g. things like Final Fantasy 14, because I don't really play MMOs anymore. I haven't done for a very long time. So things like that I'm going to steer away from. There was a lot of Final Fantasy stuff, like Final Fantasy 14 DLC, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. They actually announced a Final Fantasy 8 remaster, which is coming to all the consoles in 2019, which is pretty good. And there was a lot of that. There was a few other things as well. But there was, once again, there was two things that stood out to me. The first one was the Avengers game. Now this looks pretty damn awesome. It generally just does. It just looks like a really good action game. It looks like it's got some really big action sort of set pieces with a lot going on. The characters look brilliant. There looks like there's some really good banter between them, so it feels like the Avengers, and that is coming in May 2020. Now, the last one I want to talk about for today is the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Now, anyone who loves Final Fantasy, I'm sure you know about this, but I'm going to talk about it anyway, and for those who don't, listen up, because this is going to be brilliant. Final Fantasy VII is my favourite game of all time. It just is, flat out. I put that game above any other game in my personal opinion. I just love it to its core. I think it's brilliant. Now this remake, they showed a lot and they spoke a lot about it. I'm going to break things down a little bit for you. First of all, it looks goddamn beautiful. It looks stunning. The voice acting sounds really good as well, which is going to be good. I am very, very much looking forward to this. There's three versions you can get. You can get the regular version. They're also bringing out a deluxe edition, which has sort of art book, a CD, a couple of summons to begin with. That's going for, I think, about $80 when it's released, and I think you can pre-order it. Or they're bringing out the first class edition. Now this looked absolutely awesome for someone who loves Final Fantasy VII, and I nearly was going to pre-order this until I saw the price. So it has everything the deluxe edition has, plus an extra DLC summon, and it also comes with an awesome model of Cloud on his bike. And I was going to get this, but unfortunately it is $330, which is, ouch, that is a lot of money, like an unbelievable amount of money. The gameplay, they actually showed some, and it's a hybrid gameplay of real-time action and time-based combat. So what you do is you attack normally, sort of swinging your sword around, and this fills up an ATB meter. And when that ATB meter is full, time slows down, at which point you can select your abilities and spells and stuff. And this is called tactical mode. So this is where you can actually start thinking strategically, like Final Fantasy is. Which I think is a really awesome way of doing it. And they actually showed the fight between Barrett and Cloud against the giant scorpion robot boss right at the beginning of the game. And it looked phenomenal. The fight was just so fast paced. It was incredible. It was so fluid. The way you can flip between characters, pull off their moves. It really did look like something else. It was incredible, and I cannot goddamn wait. This is coming out in March 2020. So finally we come to the Nintendo Direct. Now, what can I say but a wow. They had a lot of good stuff shown. I won't lie, to me, Nintendo Direct was probably the best one out of the entirety of E3 when it comes to the showcases and things. There was quite a lot that I really liked the look of. I'm only going to talk about a few of them, otherwise I could be here for quite a while, and I want to try and keep this short because that's what I tend to do, just pick out a few of them. So to begin with, let's talk about Super Smash Bros. They are bringing the Dragon Quest heroes as playable characters. That's pretty cool. And then on top of that, they are adding Banjo-Kazooie. Now, a lot of people have been wanting this, and they are doing it. So that is pretty damn awesome, and I know a lot of people went crazy for that. So that's pretty cool. The next thing I wanted to point out was there's going to be quite a lot of ports actually. The Witcher Wild Hunt is getting a port, Resident Evil 5 and 6. There's an entire collection of Mana coming out, so all the Mana games are coming to the Switch as well, which is pretty cool. And then there's a lot of others as well still. There's a game called The Dark Crystal Age of Resistance Tactics. Now, I believe this is a Final Fantasy Tactics mixed with the Dark Crystal games, which should be pretty good. If you're into this kind of game, then this should be sort of right down your alley. It looks really nice, and it looks like it'll probably play pretty much the same as Final Fantasy Tactics. So if you're into this kind of game, definitely go out and grab it. The next one I want to talk about is Link's Awakening, Legend of Zelda, of course. The graphics look really awesome. So Link's Awakening is a top-down one. And it looks almost like a chibi crossed with plasticine, sort of like a toy set kind of look to it, which I think is a really awesome way of doing the graphics. I think it looks really unique. For those who have never played the original, I think this is a really good chance to play this. Me personally, I was never a Nintendo kid. I never owned the consoles, so I'm sort of just getting into Legend of Zelda and kind of playing catch up with a lot of them. So I never got a chance to play with Link's Awakening, so I'm quite looking forward to this coming out so I can have a go at it. This is being released on September 20th of this year. The next one is Demon X Machina. This looks bloody brilliant. Cel-shaded graphics, it's very fast paced, loads of people in mechs fighting each other, blowing stuff up, lots of large action set pieces, and this is coming out in September 13th of this year, and it just looks insane. Go get it. They talked a little bit more about Sword and Shield, not too much, and other than what's already been said, it just looks awesome. I can't wait for this game. I'm a big fan of the Pokemon game, so that's going to be great. The next one is a game by Platinum Games, which I believe they actually first unveiled last year at E3, but this is Astral Chain, and this looks like something else. I'm a big fan of Platinum Games. I think they do some really good hack and slash games, and this looks like it's just going to be the next kind of thing on their agenda. It looks absolutely brilliant. So you've got these demon type things which they call chimeras, which come from their own dimension, who are trying to suck things in basically, and the humans have developed a way to battle them, which is to actually link with chimeras and use them to your advantage and things. And it just looks like there's going to be a lot to it, and it just looks like it's going to be one hell of a fun game. So keep your eyes out for that. That is coming August of this year. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 The Black Order. Now, if you were an Ultimate Alliance fan, then you have been looking forward to this for a long time, because I know I have. I used to play the Ultimate Alliance games with my mates, and they were bloody brilliant. It looks awesome. The graphics look cool. Looks like they've got some giant boss fights, some really good voice acting, and just so many different people to play as, which is just going to be so much fun. I can just imagine some of the combos and things that you're going to be able to do is just going to be insane. And it looks like the big bad is going to be Thanos and his Black Order, so I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a good one. And finally, the last thing I'm going to talk about, which I'm sure many people have, is that they announced that Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel is in development. They showed a small clip, like a little teaser of like a cutscene, a video cutscene, and it looks dark. It looks like it's going to be quite dark. which I think is going to be quite a cool way of doing it, and I'm looking forward to it. I thoroughly enjoyed the first one, and I really am looking forward to it. I can't wait to see what they do. So yeah, that's Nintendo. So E3 this year has kind of been a weird one for me, to be honest, and I think a lot of people have had this kind of feeling about it. You know, Sony wasn't there, and actually a lot of the showcases didn't show huge amounts of gameplay for their games. A lot of them just showed concepts, which I think is a bit of a downer, unfortunately. And as E3 goes, I won't lie, it wasn't the best in my opinion. You know, there's been a lot better ones over past years, and I think a lot of people agree on this thought, which is a bit of a shame, but Nintendo did come out swinging, and I won't lie, I think they did a bloody good job, because there's so many games that they stole the show with, so Nintendo definitely won E3 in my opinion, definitely. But thank you very much for joining me today, guys. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, drop a like, let me know down in the comments what games you're looking forward to, what piqued your interest at E3, and I'll catch you next time. Take it easy, everybody.